My name is Mad Skills, and you are now tuned into the Spark Something podcast. And right here, I want you guys to be the best version of yourself. I want you to live out the life that God is calling you to live out, because there'll never be another you. And no one else can do it the way that you can do it. Not with the flavor God has given you. So with that being said, welcome to the show. Let's go. Yo guys, what's going on? It's your girl Mad Skills. Welcome to another episode of the Spark Something podcast. Thank you guys for joining me back with another week. This is episode 35 and we live, baby. We live. It feels good to be back. To be honest, today is actually the day after Thanksgiving. So I'm recording this the day after Thanksgiving. Right now I got some leftovers warming up in the oven because I don't got no microwave. And big shout out to all my people that are kind of like me. Yeah, I ain't got no microwave, so we warming it up in the oven, so it's gonna take a little minute. But we gonna go ahead and record this episode while that's warming up. Bro, when I tell y'all, I don't know about y'all, but them leftovers though, dog, them leftovers be bussin'. Them leftovers be better than the day of. Cause all the juices and everything done came together and married each other and did what it needed to do. So when it hit the taste buds, cause I didn't make any collard greens this year. Me and Anthony cooked. So he made the mac and cheese. I helped him out with that. Cause that's his thing. He wanted mac and cheese. I wanted it if he made it. Not that I don't know how to make it, but he learned to make it from scratch, and he's been doing it ever since. So I kind of like peep over his shoulder, and I'm like, okay, I see what he's doing. I see how many eggs he adding to the milk, and he adding the cheese to this, and he adding sour cream to that. Not sour cream, but cream cheese to this. Like, okay, I see what he's doing, because eventually I'm gonna be busting it down. But we made mac and cheese. We made cabbage with smoked turkey. That was the only turkey that we had. So it was like smoked turkey neck with the cabbage, And then we had some seafood rice. So it was pretty much just like yellow rice. I added some crab meat in it, some shrimp in it. And then I had these scallops that I had left over from a time that I made soup. And I had them from Publix. And these scallops had like some garlic butter on it. So I warmed those up and I threw that in the rice with the crab meat and the shrimp, and it was banging. When I say, my God, I can't wait until this plate heats up because I'm about to bust down. But and then we had some jerk chicken on the side. So it wasn't like a typical Thanksgiving, but I was thankful. You feel me? You gotta be thankful for the food. And we made enough for us to share with some of our friends. So we shared it, and then of course I made banana pudding. I had enough to make me and Anthony some, and then I had already told my friends that I was gonna make them some. So I made enough for that. And we really just indulged in just being thankful for the food. And I'm more so thankful not just for the food and the hands that prepared it, because good God, my grandmother would be proud. She would be proud of me. When I tell you, my mom would be proud too, because that food was busting. And like I said, I'm about to bust down on this plate once I'm done recording this episode. But I really am just thankful for 2023. And I know we still got like a month and a week left out of this entire year. I'm not gonna throw with you. I started New Year's in October for myself. I started, things changed for me in October. So I was like, I guess this is New Year for me. And it's been changing ever since. It really changed in May, but here we are in November. And what I'm more so thankful for is just being present for the people that love me and that care about me. being able to hear the voice of God and not just hear it, but obey. Because, yeah, sometimes I would walk or I would be in disobedience because I would hear it and I'd be like, I don't want to do that. And it's crazy, but it happens. It happens to the best of us. But when you can hear the voice of God, and even when it makes you uncomfortable, because I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of people nowadays are talking about God gonna bless you with this, He gonna bless you with a house, He gonna bless you with a car, He gonna bless you with a this, He gonna bless you with, and all of that is great. But when you allow God to come in, when you accept Christ and you allow Christ to be Lord of your life and you allow him to come in and you allow him to lead and guide you, you begin to look at life differently. You begin to see yourself differently. You begin to see people differently. You begin to look at life through the lens of God. I know that may not make a whole lot of sense to everybody, but for the people that's listening, I know that it's going to register with y'all. You begin to really see life the way God intended it to be. And I'm thankful that this year is different. I'm thankful for the transformation that God has really done in my life, and it was a quick work. When I tell you, it was so quick. I started to be like, all right, God, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a lot of information all at once. And I need rest. And he gave it to me. He gave it to me. God understands where you're at. One thing that God is not going to do is put more on you than you can bear. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because I had to be honest with myself. And this is the Spark Something podcast. And it's a conversation to be had. Because we think that God won't put more on us than we can bear, a lot of us believe that God thinks the way that we do. As though, and I'm going to explain what I mean when I say that. A lot of us believe that He is going to put just enough on us that we can handle it. Can I burst your bubble really quickly? If you could handle it yourself, Christ wouldn't have had to die. If you could handle it yourself, you wouldn't need God. And it's not that God is trying to crush you, to wipe you out. He literally wants you to depend totally on him. And I thank God for being able to hear his voice so clearly now. And I'm thankful that I understand that now. Because I used to think, yo, life is unfair. I'm doing all of this good stuff. God, where you at? And I literally, and it's crazy because it's coming to me now. I'm literally sitting here thinking like, all right, something got to be easy. Okay. And the thing about it is, it will come with ease, but it'll come with ease when you begin to give up your will for his. When you begin to give up your will for his, and you begin to look at it from God's lens, and you begin to see that you don't fight for victory, but you fight from a place of victory, things begin to change. Remember I said you look at it differently. You see and you maneuver through life a little differently. Your friendships aren't the same. The way you speak isn't the same. The way you show up in the world ain't the same. The way I show up for my husband, I show up for my friends. I have friends in my life that I have prayed for. And I not only have prayed for and God sent them to me, I cover them in prayer. They might not know every time I'm covering them in prayer, and it doesn't matter if they do or if they don't. I don't even have to be like, yo, I'm going to pray about that. I just hear something, and I'm like, God, keep my friend, keep their mind, keep their heart, keep them on the path that you are calling them to be on. God, I know it's hard right now. God, I know it's heavy right now, but I know that you will carry this load for them. I know that you can lift every burden. God, I know that you can lift up every burden. Open their eyes so that they can see whatever it is that you were trying to get them to see, Father God. They don't have to know that. But I'm so thankful that I'm not in the place where I was, to where I would sit there and I would give them, first of all, unsolicited advice and not give them wise counsel. I'm so thankful now that I won't speak unless God is giving me something to say. I'm extremely thankful that I can hear God's voice. And a lot of people are like, how can you hear God's voice? What is it? I literally was on Instagram this morning and there was a guy, and it looked like they were in like an auditorium or something like that. And I guess he was talking to a pastor. I didn't save the video. I'm so mad I didn't save it. And I don't think you can go back and actually watch like a history on Instagram videos. But he was like, how do you know? Like, a lot of people say that they can hear God's voice. This is the question the guy asked. He's like, a lot of people talk about hearing God's voice. How do you know when you hear God clearly? Like, how do you know it's God's voice and it's not the enemy? And the depiction that this pastor gave, I want to say it so well that I don't butcher it. But the depiction that he gave, his description of how he hear God's voice and how he broke it down so simple for this young man, because he literally looked like he was seeking for God. Like he wanted to know more and he wanted to find God on his own. Like he was on his own quest or on his own journey to get to know who God was. And I was like, please tell him. Tell him the truth. And I prayed because I just watched another video and oh man, I'm not even gonna go into that because it's a lot of craziness also happening in the body of Christ. But when he gave him this depiction, and I'm gonna give it to somebody because I know y'all probably want to hear what the man said. And if you've seen this video, send it to me on Instagram, or like just you can DM me. You could send, like, just send it to my email, whatever. But the guy at first he has an iPad in his hand, or like a tablet or something in his hand. Then he walks over to one of the people that's sitting down in the auditorium and he's like, "Can I borrow your phone?" And the girl gives him his phone. I could tell it was a girl because the phone was like gold and glittery. So I'm gonna guess it was a girl. But he grabs the phone and he's just on the phone and he was like, you know how you on the phone with somebody, and this is a video, but I have to tell it to you guys in audio because y'all can't see me. But I'm gonna try to break it down sweet. So he's like, you know, when you on the phone with somebody, he has the phone up to his ear and he's just talking just randomly. There's nobody on the phone, but he's giving him a depiction. And he's on the phone, everybody's watching him, and he's like, hello, hello. And he starts walking. And he's like, hello. And then he gets to a certain point. He was like, hey, can you hear me? Hello, hello. And then he begins to back up, take a couple steps back. He's like, you can hear me now? And the person on the other end would be like, yeah, I can hear you. He'd be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna stay right here. And he's like, that's how you know. You can tell. And what he said to him was like, you know, you're hearing from God by the position that you're in. And I was like, oh, break that down for him. And he did the phone depiction of walking around the front of the auditorium. And when he got to a certain point, it was like he pretended to lose connection because he needed him to see the visual. And then he backed up a couple steps and he was like, okay, I can hear you now. And he's like, that's how you know when you're hearing from God. When you're hearing from God, when you don't hear from God, is what he said, it's not because God moved somewhere where you can't hear him. It's because you moved out of range, or it's because you moved out of the connection or out of the flow. But if you come back to the last, ooh, that's so good. If you come back to the last place that you were when you heard God's voice, you will begin to hear him right there. I remember I was having a conversation with God and I was frustrated. And I was like, dang, God, like, what you want me to do? Like, I'm out here, I'm trying to do this, and that. And I remember I wasn't hearing from God. And I literally heard God say, when I was like really seeking for him, he literally was like, do the last thing I told you to do. Do what I told you to do before. because that was what you were supposed to be doing. Now, when it came to, and I'll be honest with you, I'm still talking about being thankful because God, I'm glad I can hear his voice. Because I used to stumble and stutter a lot, and there was a lot of ums and oh and hey and on these episodes. And the last episode I went back and I listened to, and I was like, God, it was such a flow. It was such a flow. And I know it was a flow because it was all you. But I remember thinking, like, all right, I want to do video. I want to do the video with the audio. I got all of these plans for what I want to do because I see people doing what they doing with their podcast, and I want mine to grow like that. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And God, I'm just out here, and I'm nervous, but I'm gonna trust you, and I'm scared, but I'm gonna trust you. But I had more fear than I had trust. I had more fear than I had faith. But I was still like, all right, God, I know I heard you, so let me just, I was dragging my feet with it. And God was like, I understand. Like, I'll open the door. If you lift him, he will draw all men to him. Okay? If you're obedient, if you are faithful over the few, God will make you ruler over much. I remember I dropped the episode called Be Faithful. Be faithful over the few. I don't remember what episode number that is, but go back and check that out. But if you're faithful over the few, God will make you ruler over much. If you do the last thing God told you to do, and if he has not said anything since the last thing he said, the last thing he told you to do is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, I know when God says move is when you move. When God says go is when you go. And sometimes God will tell us to go and he won't give us the whole story, but he still is saying go. How is he saying go? That might be a question you need to ask. Like, okay, God, you want me to go? Don't just take off. Ask, how do you want me to do this? Because one thing that I have learned in my moments of being still and being quiet is if you give God back what he gave you, he'll bless it. If you give him back what he gave you, he'll increase it. Why? Because he knows that he knows that he can trust you with what he gave you if you give it back to him. But if you think that, all right, God gave me this, cool, I'm gonna just go for it because since he gave it to me, I gotta be able to handle it. And God's like, I'm literally giving this to you. He literally has it in expectation that you are going to give it back to him. Like, we get things from God and then we become God because we hog it, or we become God because we're trying to spearhead this thing, and we get so caught up that we got something from God that we don't give it back to him. And we get so caught up that we got something from him that we think that we can do better with it than he can. Don't get me wrong. You are not lacking anything. You're not lacking anything. God has placed everything inside of you that you need to progress, that you need to be successful. But you have to give it back to the Creator just so you know how to maneuver through this life. You can't just assume, like, all right, I got it. Pride sinks in, bro. Being puffed up, it sinks in. All of that becomes an issue. And then we begin to idolize this. Like, okay, you either gonna idolize the leadership, you gonna idolize the hustle. And don't get me wrong, ain't nothing wrong with hustling. You're gonna idolize the hustle. You're gonna idolize the leadership. You're gonna idolize, okay, I gotta do this. And it's cutting into your prayer time. Oh, God gave me this. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. God gave me this podcast. All I'm gonna do is think about this podcast. Yo, it's cutting into your prayer time. If God gave you something, you don't think he gonna give you the provision to take care of it? The provision to do what he has called you to do? This is going a whole nother way. I'm still talking about being thankful, but I'm breaking it down because this is who God has called me to be. And I had to be this way by being still. I had in my being still, God literally showed me how to be grateful and how to appreciate him. He showed me how to be grateful and how to listen to his voice and know when it's him that's speaking. Cuz there's a lot of voices speaking. But God's voice supersedes any other voice that you hear, even yours, even mine. So whatever God has given you, give it back to him. I'm not perfect. I don't I don't I don't expect to be perfect because I'm flawed in so many different areas. All I am is a vessel that God can use. And I'm praying that I am maneuvering through this life the way he has called me to, because I know that there are people that are going to listen to this podcast, and I need them to know, regardless of what's going on out here in the world, that God has still called us to something greater than what we think we are, or what society has deemed us to be, or wherever we have come from. I get it. Poo poo, nay nay, day day, all of them people you grew up with. We all have a purpose and a calling on our life. And if we don't stop and seek the face of God, we'll never understand why we are breathing every day, why we're here. I'm thankful that all I am doing is walking in the way and in the purpose that God is calling me to walk in. I can't do anything outside of that. The minute I begin to think that I got it all figured out, that's when everything falls apart. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that God is holding me together. What are you thankful for? We in the season of being thankful. It's not the crazy part about it. Sucks that I had to say that. I'm sorry. We're not in the season of being thankful because of Thanksgiving. Because there's a whole story behind the real reason behind, all of this other stuff, paganism and all this other stuff. But every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Every day that you wake up, God puts breath in your body. He opens your eyes so you can see. He gives you a brain that works, hands that work. And even if you wake up and you don't have all activity of your limbs, but the fact that you woke up is still a day that you should thank God that you have another chance to get it right, that you have another chance to glorify him, that God is saying it's not over. You still have purpose on this side. I'm still calling you to more people. But remember, don't forget about me. The higher you go up, remember me. But I just wanted to get on here and just tell y'all kind of like what my Thanksgiving was. I had to talk to y'all about this food because I'm about to skate right now because I know my food hot right now. To be honest, the wings probably a little dog because I've been on here for about 23 minutes now. But I'm so grateful that God has given me another chance, another day. I pray that everybody had a beautiful Thanksgiving. I pray that your leftovers are busting. I pray that you bust them down. I pray they slam it. I pray that they are everything that they need to be because the juices have married each other and them leftovers are, ooh, listen, they are from heaven because I know mine are. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Oh, one thing. I know last episode I completely forgot the third place that this podcast has been popping. Italy, what's up, baby? How y'all doing? Yeah, we in Italy. All my Italians. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm just a small girl from Florida, small girl from Broward County, Florida. It's nice to know that I am in other countries. So we in the U.S. of course. We're in Italy and we're in the UK for right now. I'm just thanking God because I've never been to Italy or the UK. But I definitely would love to one day come out there and just see my supporters. Thank you guys so much for continuing to check out the podcast. I'm praying that this is blessing you. We on a whole nother level. We're just following God's voice and doing what we're called to do. I love y'all. This has been. Hold on, I get a little hype because we about to end this thing real quick. Continue to check me out on check out all the previous episodes. I thank you guys for just listening and I pray that it's blessing your spirit. This has been another episode of the Spark Something podcast. This has been your girl Mad Skills. We out this thing. I'm excited. I'm excited because I feel like this episode was crazy. But I hope this sparks something in your life and I'm out. Peace, baby. Let's go.